back to Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth.
Nothing But Truth.
On AFR Talk.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. And it's definitely a Friday show. We go overtime, we move some things around, and sometimes that's what happens. Hope you're enjoying the Friday. Seton Motley, wonderful conversation about what really is happening here. And you say, what is really happening here? Well, what it is not exactly clear. But we know this. We know that we haven't gotten the truth in the IRS, Benghazi. And when it comes to Syria, we have a president who didn't step up when he had the opportunity to support the opposition in Syria in 2011. And what did that cost us? Well, it cost us the ability to have some people that we could support in some way because they've been infiltrated by terrorists. And so whether it's al-Nusra or other al-Qaeda affiliates, we're in a jam. At the top of the hour, we will address that specifically. The president also talked about a red line and then decided, nope, I'm not going to take responsibility for saying it was a red line. And Chuck Todd has seized on this, not to hold President Obama accountable for that regarding the use of chemical weapons. No, he turns it on its ear. And, well, listen to what he says about President Obama August 2012 saying there's a red line, and that would be a red line, the use of chemical weapons. And then coming back and saying, no, it's not about me and my credibility, it's about the world's credibility. When he made the statement, he also said Assad has to go. Made that statement in the past. So these are all catching up. But what happens when you have to blame or hold accountable the President of the United States and you may ideologically line up with him big time? Well, we'll see. Chuck Todd, roll it.
And I think it was clear that the president was trying to depersonalize the Syria issue a little bit. And that red line explanation, it's one that senior advisors made over the weekend right after, when they held a background briefing about the president's decision on Saturday when he made that announcement that he was going to Congress. On this issue, it seemed to me it was the White House's intention on Saturday and the president today to say, stop making this about the president personally, depersonalize this. And part of that reason, Kristen, is that there are some House Republicans who are looking at this only through the prism of their disagreements and dislike for President Obama rather than the policy itself. And so they're trying to make the policy argument. Forget who's in the seat as commander-in-chief. Would the United States believe this was a red line no matter who was president?
Okay, a couple things there. Newsbusters.org, wonderful job on this. Kyle Drennan writing and highlighted the point here. What Chuck Todd said, there are some House Republicans who are looking at this only view through the prism of their disagreements and dislike for President Obama rather than policy itself. Very irresponsible. That's conjecture and a very irresponsible statement. Can that happen? I'm sure it can, yes. But in reporting the story, you're going to motivations here. And I will say that there are people, I've told you, I disagree with Rand Paul on a host of things, but I'm not questioning his motives. I do think he understands political opportunity. That aside, I'm not questioning his motives because he believes in what he's doing. And that is sincere. Don't take that away from the people who are disagreeing with the president. Oh, by the way, Democrats are disagreeing with the president on this as well. What are their motives? Is it personal animosity? This is not high school. This is not about personal dislike. This is about national security and a president who has had a foreign policy that has embraced terrorists, has left 4 dead Americans in the sense, including our ambassador, has left them without holding the people accountable, except for that filmmaker. But it's not the film. But if it was the film, we don't believe in that film because it insults Islam. What a pathetic response. But what makes it disgusting is he lied to the American people about that. That's President Obama. So, Chuck Todd and all of you in the left-wing press, please understand, it's not the color of his skin. It's not the personal, hey, how are you, Mr. President, interpersonally. No, it's the fact that through his actions, he has demonstrated a total disrespect for the American people and people that do not share his point of view. And through his actions and policies, he's put a surge in place in Afghanistan, announced timelines, went against his general's advice 3 times, lost Iraq, by the way, in that time, and no accountability. Through his actions, he has had an IRS that he said, that's outrageous. But hey, Lois Lerner's still on paid leave, pleading the fifth. Do you see? This is not about the personal dislike. This is about a president, an executive who is not abiding by the law or has agencies that have broken the law, has an attorney general that there is evidence of perjury from Hank Johnson. I mean, Hank Johnson, pardon me, but between Hank Johnson and Russ Carnahan, wow, that would be a chess match. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous to think that this is because we don't like the president. But what they're doing right now is they're turning him into a victim. That's what David Axelrod did. Oh, he's a senior advisor and he works with the campaign. Sure, he works with the president. This is what he's supposed to do. But who led him into that on Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough, was Joe Scarborough. Listen to this. Also, courtesy of newsbusters.org, here is Joe Scarborough turning President Obama into a victim. And David Axelrod, well, he hits that one out of the park. Roll it.
And also, you talk to anybody that's been inside the White House like you, and they'll tell you being president of the United States is the loneliest job in the world. It just got a lot lonelier. And it's especially lonely for a guy who, like you said, is president of the United States, in large part because of a war he opposed in 2002.
Yeah, you never want to say, boy, that's a lousy job, because the President of the United States, it's an exalted position. You get all these perks and so on. But there have been many days when I wondered, I wonder if all of us who helped him get elected did him a favor, because these are such difficult decisions.
Really? Let's bring up back 2002. What was his reasoning? Oh, the very reasoning he's arguing against right now when it comes to the action in Syria. So that's the contradiction. Also, Bush lied, people died. That was not true. But that's why we had the left in this country and John Kerry, his Secretary of State, sacrifice national security on the altar of politics. Bottom line, history will read that the left in this country has done more damage to our national security than some of our enemies outside the country, because they've undermined it. Now he's being held to account. And, oh, did we hear that? Oh, Bush, it must be a lonely job for President Bush. I happen to know, I can't get too far into this, but I will say this. President Bush was a dedicated president. He cared about the troops, and every decision he made when it came to the troops and our action abroad and the war was not lighthearted, knee-jerk. No. It weighed on him. And the fact that it's a lonely job, and I don't know if we did him a favor by getting him this, what are they talking about? Are they talking about prom king? Are they talking about the President of the United States? Because you better be up to the task. Oh, maybe he's not, and that's the problem. And I don't say this pointing down at President Obama. I'm saying the President of the United States, you better be ripping qualified. Otherwise, as some would say, elect a clown, you get a circus. Expect a circus. It's on a bumper sticker. I'm not a bumper sticker guy, but what did you elect? You elected a community organizer. What do? They punish their enemies. They have one constituency. They're not about unifying. They're not about even selling their point of view to people who disagree with them. Oh, do you think we got a little issue with that? Think about Obamacare. Think about the stimulus. Think about war, which he is trying to get on board people right now. Think about that. Anytime he has to actually convince people. No, what community organizers are about are getting what they can for their particular constituency. It is not about convincing people that they're right. They're not interested in winning the debate. They're interested in the power and the mechanism, because once they have it, they use it. That's the bottom line. And why do I make those statements? Not because I don't like President Obama. I don't like what the president is doing in office with his policies, his inaction and action. I am looking at his fruits and I'm going, whoa! Are you kidding me? How on earth are they turning this guy into the victim? He's gotten his policies. Foreign policy, he tried the apology tour. And understand, I believe in a comprehensive plan for Syria. But we're not getting that from the president because he's not explaining it. Very interesting. Incidentally, how many times have we heard about the persecution of Christians in Egypt, Middle East in general, and the world? It's happening a lot. But we are hearing a lot about people dying through chemical weapons, and I understand that. But when you're silent on the other stuff, big problem. 100,000. Silent. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. On the flip side, Colonel Gordon Kakulu. AFR Talk.